And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Zach Allison with ATS. I am the ATS Market Development Manager, and I run our ATS University program, as well as work with architect, interior design, design build contractor, and engineering firms across the US and Canada, helping them get set up on the ATS spec tool. If this is your first time, thanks for joining us. ATS Spec Tool is a free product selection and product configuration tool that is paid for by many of our lovely manufacturers. We have about 45, 50 different manufacturers that are available on the Spec Tool. One of which, and one of our leading manufacturers, is the Bobrick team, who makes sure that we have all the accessories and grab bars, soap dispensers, and hand dryers available on the Spec Tool so that we can help you configure those selections, get the exact model name and number that you need, as well as ensure it meets all your local building codes, and provide easy to access, easy to integrate downloadable content that you can put into your internal project delivery process. We also use our ATS University program to make sure you understand the products that you're reviewing, where they're appropriate, why they might be used, and what some of the options really are and the differentiating factors. So our ATS University program, we do some really specific deep dives on individual products or application overviews. We're planning out a long-term care and an anti-ligature overview. That's what we're working on for this Q3, end of Q3 phase. We just finished a deep dive into the wild world of pipes. I don't know if you're a big pipe guy, but we were talking, DCW, DHW supply pipe. We were talking pressurized pipe. We were talking chemical resistant pipe, DWV, everything. So a huge range of different sessions that we do on this ATS University on an almost weekly basis. We provide a session like today. Uh, but today is more of a barrier-free overview. We run a CEU event. This is an AIA accredited CEU provided by Bobrick. And I believe everyone should have the CEU events code. If you haven't, we will be reaching out with our team to make sure that we get everyone registered for this as well, so you can have your accreditation. So with me today is Alan Gettleman. We've done a few of these presentations now, Alan, over the last couple of years. Always very well attended. Great questions from the audience. So if you do have questions, feel free to pop them into the Q&A down at the bottom, and I will raise them up to Alan as we get to the end of the section and kind of address anything as we go. If we get time at the end, I'll also show you how you can find the products that we're talking about today on the ATS spec tool. Again, it's a great product selection or product configuration tool. Helps you find the exact model name and number that you need, live up-to-date info provided by the manufacturers in what are hopefully easy to use tools. And it's a great way to just to enhance your workflow, enhance your project delivery process. So if you want to learn more about that after, feel free to reach out to me, Zach at atspec.com. We have a team all across North America that will help you get onboarded on the system. Without any further ado, Alan, I think I covered everything there. I'll pass it over to you. Let's dive into design solutions for restroom.
Thank you, Zach. Welcome, everyone. It's good to be with you. We appreciate your joining this Design Solutions for Restroom Privacy Continuing Education course presented by Bobrick Washroom Equipment. I am Alan Gettleman, Bobrick Vice President of External Affairs, your instructor for today's course. Bobrick is a registered provider for continuing education with the American Institute of Architects and Interior Design Continuing Education Council. Your registration and attendance and completion of this course will earn 1 hour of health, safety, and welfare educational credits. You will be receiving a certificate of course completion for your own record keeping and self-reporting purposes. As was just mentioned by Zach, if you want to post your questions as we go through the presentation in the chat feature, we will answer your questions at the end of each learning objective. There's a break, and we'll cover your questions then. This course will provide the following learning opportunities. First of all, we're going to help you understand the factors that contribute to privacy as a design expectation. Secondly, we're going to help you understand the different toilet partition design solutions and their varying degrees of privacy. We'll also help you understand the cost-benefit analysis and construction implications of the different toilet partition privacy solutions. And then finally, we'll show a relationship to each of the privacy solutions to the ADA compliance. I have to tell you that this presentation is protected by copyright laws that restrict use of the presentation. But I also have to tell you that if you see anything in the presentation that you would like to have a copy of, that you would like to share with clients or with colleagues, I'll be happy to send you a copy of the presentation and give you permission to use the presentation. Send your request to me at agettelman, Gettelman, at bobrick.com. Today's restroom users, whether they be at the young end, the millennials, to caregivers, to individuals that have personal medical issues, privacy is a key amenity. Additionally, as all gender restrooms rise in popularity, privacy has taken a real role in dialogues surrounding restroom design. This course is going to cover the factors that contribute to the rise of privacy as an expectation of restroom users. Secondly, the design solutions that can achieve various levels of privacy in commercial restrooms. The cost of the different toilet partition design solutions. And finally, the impact the ADA regulations have on the different privacy solutions. All right, that's the end of our introduction. Zach, are there any questions in chat at this early point?
Nothing that we haven't addressed. We had a couple of people ask about copies of the downloadable slides. So as you mentioned, we're happy to send those along. Our team will be sending out the certificate of attendance as well. So just respond to Natalia and we'll provide a copy of the slides.
Very good. Thank you. All right, now let's move on to learning objective number 1. And here we're going to discuss the why of privacy, the factors that contribute to privacy as a design expectation. First, a little bit of history. Privacy today, while using a restroom, is definitely an expectation, but it hasn't always been that way. And the picture on the right from the Roman Forum shows a very communal restroom fixture, certainly not very private. That began to change over the years, and the idea of gender segregated public restrooms was first exhibited in Paris, and it was considered somewhat of a novelty at that point. And then in gender segregated restrooms became law in the late 1800s when a law was passed in Massachusetts to ensure that women in the workplace had a safe private restroom during working hours. In 1990, we went into a whole new chapter for the restroom design, and that was with the passage of the Americans with Disability Act, creating the need for compliant, accessible restrooms. By 2013, 150 universities and a number of high schools had gender-neutral restrooms installed. By 2018, the International Building and Plumbing Code include gender-neutral restrooms, ensuring safe, dignified access to public restrooms. Beyond all gender restrooms, patrons are desiring more privacy, especially those who have various health and personal needs, such as caregivers accompanying elderly or those who have health issues. Nursing mothers appreciate privacy in public restrooms. Elderly individuals with health issues and those with chronic health conditions such as diabetics who require insulin injections. There are several other drivers that who have a stake in restroom privacy. First of all, there's the gender inclusivity and ensuring transgender individuals have a safe private restroom available to them. This creates an atmosphere of inclusivity and reduces legal liability in areas and buildings where laws have been passed. Some reasons why privacy is needed is to address safety concerns, such as child safety. Parents want to feel confident that their child is safe and within sight while they are occupying a toilet compartment. This is also true in educational environments where harassment can be a consideration. Personal security is also a cause for concern. There have been incidents of people being caught trying to covertly sneak a photo under a toilet compartment panel of someone in an adjacent compartment. Theft of personal belongings is a problem. There have been many documented incidents of individuals stealing purses and jackets by simply reaching over or under toilet compartment doors. All of these concerns underscore the importance of privacy in public restrooms. Gaps between toilet compartment doors and stiles and the resulting lack of privacy have long been a source of patron complaints. This is typically a consequence of toilet partition material selection. For example, with metal toilet partition, the gaps are due to configuring toilet compartment layouts to the size of restrooms using standard size doors, panels, and stiles manufactured to whole inch dimensions. Social media has been a common outlet for individuals who wish to express their displeasure about public facilities. Here are some examples of people expressing their displeasure with the gaps that exist in toilet compartment doors. Someone complaining about 2-inch gaps. Someone looking for help from elected officials. Someone just expressing exasperation and they just want to pee in peace. Someone who is looking for help in eliminating eye contact with people who walk into the bathroom. Someone expressing displeasure about 5-star hotels having gaps in bathroom doors. All right, so you get sort of a sense that this is something that people are aware of. Additional common complaints are the standard 12-inch floor clearance on toilet partition doors, which we've all seen. This allows people to easily peek underneath to see if the toilet compartment is occupied. Gaps between doors and stiles allow for visibility, not only from the outside in, but also from compartment to compartment, creating awkward, uncomfortable moments between strangers and coworkers. Large gaps can be an issue when it comes to closing and locking doors, creating the anxiety-ridden potential for a door to accidentally swing open if the latch doesn't secure fully. Some toilet partition component materials are produced in stocked widths, which do not allow precise matching to room dimensions. Additionally, the installation process and quality of doors and styles can produce larger gaps than desired, especially on the door hinging and latching sides. So, just how big is the gap? On the hinge side, with standard hardware, the average gap is almost 3/16 of an inch. On the keeping side or latching side, with standard hardware, the gap is almost 1/4 of an inch. Fortunately, there are privacy solutions to address this pain point, and we'll explain them in a moment. Mid-Class B to Premium Class A commercial office spaces may require additional privacy to enhance patron and tenant satisfaction, safety, and create a more pleasant experience for employees and visitors. Pictured here are the global headquarters of a publicly traded bank in Southern California. They underwent a major restroom renovation to provide a comfortable, positive, morale-building experience for their employees. While design was important, privacy was key in order to ensure that all employees felt comfortable in the toilet compartment space. They were able to achieve a high sense of privacy with a European-style toilet cubicle system with interlocking door and fascia panels to eliminate sightlines, the addition of occupancy indicators on the doors, and self-closing doors. A representative from the architectural firm said the partitions create almost a room-like environment. Some prestige commercial office spaces may require high-end design in addition to privacy due to the status of the company or the clientele that visits the building regularly. In a recent renovation of restrooms at an iconic television and film studio in Southern California, shown on the left, the architect achieved a sophisticated look with a high sense of privacy by using European-style toilet cubicles with interlocking flush front door and fascia panels to eliminate sightlines and occupancy indicators on the doors, complemented by luxurious finishes and a cubicle system that appears to float off the floor due to its recessed foot pedestals. More unique materials, such as glass, as shown on the right, can also be used for prestige buildings and to reinforce a luxurious interior design aesthetic. In addition to providing users with privacy, maximum height, no sightline solutions like these create a flush facade when all of the cubicle doors are closed. Educational facilities such as universities and high schools may require additional privacy considerations, especially when creating all-gender restroom solutions, including those in dormitories, libraries, and other spaces that multiple genders occupy. The Vashon Island High School outside of Seattle took it upon themselves to renovate both a boys' and girls' restroom into 2 all-gender restrooms, the first of their kind in Washington State. These considerations, such as increased height 71 3/4 inch panels, no sightline integrated doors and stiles, and lower floor clearances, support inclusiveness and privacy. Because of these privacy considerations, the principal remarked, making bathrooms all gender is the safest and clearest way to prevent students from having to explain or justify their bathroom use to anyone. The Moffett Library at the University of California, Berkeley, shown on the left, was originally designed in the late 1960s. In 2017, a renovation was completed that included gender-inclusive bathrooms. Prior to renovation, the university president declared the renovated library must feature gender-inclusive restrooms with toilet compartments that are individual and room-like, so that no individual could reach under or over a door or panel with their cell phone or a selfie stick. The new restrooms feature high privacy compartments with integrated no sightline privacy doors and styles, with floor-to-ceiling doors and extended height panels above the doors to enhance user privacy, support gender-inclusive design, and promote peace of mind. They were able to achieve this high level of privacy with no drywall and use of minimal trades due to the toilet partition materials they selected. Note that these features can be equally valuable to gender-inclusive restrooms as they would be to traditional men's or women's rooms. Shown on the right is the Pollock Library restroom renovation at California State University, Fullerton, which needed an all-gender restroom solution that would serve the building's diverse user groups while achieving the utmost privacy. A no sightline partition system with occupancy indicator door latches delivered privacy and practicality. Floor to ceiling 106.5-inch doors were employed to create a room-like environment without additional trades, cost, and construction implications associated with fully enclosed walls and single-user restrooms. The trend of gender-neutral and gender identity restroom design underscores the scale of the privacy issue. Consider this map. A number of states and municipalities have enacted legislation that protects individuals who wish to use the restroom of their choice within public facilities. The states in lavender have passed laws mandating gender neutrality for individual toilet rooms or single compartment restrooms. The states in dark blue have laws protecting use of bathrooms according to gender identity. The states in red restrict bathroom access according to gender identity in schools, requiring use of restrooms according to gender at birth. And the states in light blue do not have gender neutral or gender identity legislation as of March 2026. All right, that brings us to the end of Learning Objective 1. Zach, are there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, we had a couple of different questions come up. First one, really at a conceptual level, what is a European style compartment or stall? How is there a definition behind that?
The European style would be, first of all, lower to the floor than the 12 inches that is common in North America. That's one indicator. The second indicator is that the door and the either style on the hinging side or on the latching side are integrated so that there is no gap between the door and the adjoining style. And the third area of definition would be the height is greater than the 58, the height of the panel, the height of the door is greater than the 58 inches, which is common in North America.
When it comes to the height, is there a max height that tends to be seen?
Is there, what height?
When it comes to the height that you were referencing, is there like a max height that tends to be common without, say, blowing
Well,
budgets? Because I know these are
in,
generally bought by sheets, right? So surely
in,
the
in I would say, there are two different heights. One height would be about 85 inches, which would be a sort of a stock height. And the other height, which is very common in European, and we'll get into it in a moment when we describe the different types of compartments, is the height that goes all the way to the ceiling. So there, 85 inches would be sort of a stock height compared to 58 inches in North America. And then you do have the option of going all the way to the ceiling.
And then lastly, you mentioned the lower height off the floor, and that ties into the next question. How do you handle like a water overrun when the doors are that low to the floor?
That's a good question.
I would imagine this would be like when they're, say, cleaning the floors with a mop bucket or anything like that, or any sort of like spillover. Um,
Well, first of all bathrooms have some sort of a drainage built into them. In some cases, there's the doors, the floor of restrooms in under toilet compartments will drain to one or two common drains, or there might be drainage, outside of the toilet compartment. There may be a common drain, so there is a drainage that's built into the floor that would allow water to flow down into a drain, so it doesn't pool behind a door.
Perfect. Great. And then the last question, which I think we'll probably get into in the next section, just wondering about the budget implications of these concealed hinges or, of these more European designs, what the budget implications are. And I imagine you'll cover that as we go through more of the options in the
Yeah,
next section.
when we get in a moment, I'm going to show you how to achieve toilet compartment privacy, and we'll lay out several different solutions. And then in chapter 3, we'll talk about how much it cost.
Perfect. Well, let's dive back in then.
Okay. All right. Thank you for good questions, good learning, and good sharing. All right. Let's move on to learning objective 2. And this is the what and how to achieve toilet compartment privacy. Here we're going to help you understand the different types of solutions and the varying degree of privacy. All right, there's several types of design solutions that can achieve various levels of privacy, and each delivers different levels of privacy at different costs and different construction implications. All right, timely question leads to this further explanation. All right, the standard toilet compartments with 58-inch panels and doors can be equipped with a variety of options that can increase or decrease their level of privacy, such as no sightline and or taller doors and styles. All right, the level of privacy that the standard partition solution provides is typically low. These are known for 12-inch floor clearance as well as large gaps between doors and styles. However, these issues can be addressed with the addition of taller, no sightline doors and styles. In addition, add-on strips can be effective in increasing privacy, but may sacrifice some aesthetics. The cost of the standard toilet compartments will vary from low to mid-range. There is less coordination of trades for installing this type of partition. However, increases in cost could come from the variety of material, finish options, and privacy options. The standard toilet compartments take up less to the least amount of space. They typically are 61 inches deep from the back wall to the front of the compartment, and the space between the back wall and the dividing panel can be 1/2 inch to 1 inch, depending upon partition material. Increased height toilet compartments typically consist of 71 and 3/4 inch tall panels. This classification includes standard toilet compartments with taller options, as well as many of the European style cubicle systems. The increased height toilet compartments provide medium privacy. With European style pedestal supported cubicles, the systems are not only taller to start with, but also provide no sight line due to the integration of the door and the frame. Standard partitions that utilized increased height options or privacy strips added to the doors may fall in this category. The cost of the increased height toilet compartment is mid-range. There is less coordination of trades. However, increases in cost could come from the variety of material and finish options for the partitions and custom partition sizing. Increased height toilet compartments allow each compartment to share HVAC systems across the tops and bottoms of the compartments. They can utilize recessed lighting systems to share light across the entire row of partitions, and can share a single fire suppression system at the rate of one nozzle for multiple compartments if the partition panels are a minimum of 18 inches below the sprinkler deflector. Otherwise, the rate is one nozzle per toilet compartment. Increased height toilet compartments can potentially take up the least amount of space. However, floor clearance is a consideration, as many systems provide 4 to 6 inch floor clearance, which necessitates deeper and wider compartments to comply with accessibility standards toe clearance requirements. Please note, if the wheelchair accessible toilet compartment interior dimensions are a minimum of 66 inches wide and 66 inches deep, no toe clearance is required. Extended height toilet compartments feature panels that are made to fit the height of the restroom. Some European style cubicles may fall into this classification. An added advantage of European style cubicles is that they provide no sight lines due to the door and frame integration. Extended height partitions or cubicles shown here allow for even more privacy and create nearly a fully enclosed space without the cost of additional labor associated with drywall construction. This provides a high level of privacy. The cost of the extended height toilet partition can vary from mid-range to high-end. There is less coordination of trades compared to fully enclosed with drywall and individual toilet rooms. However, increases in cost could come from custom partition sizing, as well as the potential need for additional lighting, HVAC, and fire suppression systems due to the partition height. Plumbing, tiling, electrical, and/or mechanical services may be required. Extended height toilet partitions can take up a medium amount of space, but floor clearance is also a consideration with extended height toilet compartments. Many systems with minimal floor clearance requirement require deeper and wider compartments to comply with accessibility standards, toe clearance requirements. Again, note, if the wheelchair accessible toilet compartment interior dimensions are a minimum of 68 inches wide and 66 inches wide and 66 inches deep, no toe clearance is required. A fully enclosed with drywall toilet compartment involves the use of framing and drywall to create floor-to-ceiling partitions on both the fronts and the sides of each compartment. Fully enclosed with drywall privacy solutions often share a sink or common hand washing area, as shown in the photograph on the upper right. The level of privacy this solution provides is high, since the barrier between compartments is floor to ceiling. The cost of a fully enclosed toilet room is high-end, dependent upon design. Special tile to cover interior walls could drive up costs. Fully enclosed toilet rooms also require more expensive door hardware, numerous different trades, including framing, drywall, paint, and tile. A fully enclosed drywall toilet room requires separate lighting, HVAC, and fire suppression systems. Fully enclosed drywall rooms take up a large amount of space. More space than a traditional partition design is required for both the depth and width of each compartment due to the framing needed for the drywalls and the frame doors. Also note that the dimensions of a fully enclosed drywall toilet room that is wheelchair accessible must be a minimum of 66 inches wide and a minimum of 66 inches deep to comply with accessibility standards, as there is no toe clearance with the full room height walls. A single-user restroom privacy solution involves individual toilet rooms with all the necessary restroom accessories and plumbing fixtures self-contained. The level of this solution provides the highest level of privacy, since these are individual rooms. The cost of a single-user toilet room will always be on the highest end for several reasons. Dependent upon design, special tile to cover interior walls could drive up costs. Single-user toilet rooms require the most number of different trades, including framing, drywall, paint, tile, lighting, HVAC suppression systems, and most expensively, separate restroom plumbing fixtures for each individual toilet room. Single-user systems take up the most amount of space because each toilet room is its own individual room. Additional space is required for the depth and width of each room due to the framing needed for the drywall construction and framed doors. On top of that, more space will be required for individual plumbing fixtures and restroom accessories, as well as making sure they are ADA compliant, including clear floor space at the toilet, the lavatory, and providing a wheelchair turning space. European style and traditional partitions can feature a number of design solutions that can increase their privacy without the expense associated with fully enclosed walls or single user toilet rooms. For example, integrated no sightline privacy doors and styles have offsetting routing edges, as you can be seen in the top photo, that result in an interlocking design with no sight lines into the compartment when the door is closed, as is shown in the bottom photo. These configurations typically produce a flush front styling across a series of doors and styles to produce a clean aesthetic design, as is shown again in the bottom photo. Some privacy toilet partitions are made to order by the manufacturer, while others are stock-sized components. Because the precision is critical when it comes to features like no sightline doors, it's important that each component is manufactured to strict tolerances. With stock door and style sizes, builders tend to compensate for discrepancies between plans and what's available by increasing gaps on the sides of all doors and styles. Companies that provide made-to-order on all partition components can make doors and styles nearly to exact dimensions, side to side with a 1/16 inch tolerance, which means little or no gaps. The type of hardware selected can also impact sight lines and thus have a significant impact on privacy. Some hardware may also enhance the patron experience. Hardware components may include the hinges and the latches and the keepers and the coat hooks, as well as mounting brackets. The options that may enhance privacy and or aesthetics from the front of the compartment include full height or continuous hardware, which includes brackets that run from the bottom of the door and panel to the top, eliminating sight lines at hinges. Occupancy indicator door latches provide users with peace of mind and comfort by eliminating the need to look under the door to check compartment occupancy. They also provide a more secure, sturdy lock between the door and the stile, which this solution provides an extra layer of security for the toilet compartment user. Extended height privacy compartments consist of 71 and 3/4 inch high doors and panels with nominal 4-inch floor clearance. A combination of the integrated no sightline privacy doors and stiles and the extended height privacy compartments provide the most privacy as it combines both an interlocking design with no sight lines and the taller compartments. Compare this to the standard size of toilet compartment panels and doors. Metal, stainless steel, high pressure laminate, compact laminate, and solid color reinforced composite partitions are typically 58 inches high. High density polyethylene partition doors and panels are typically 55 inches high. Therefore, the maximum height compartments can add as much as an additional 17 inches to the standard door height. While the front of each compartment is often the most commonly considered privacy concern, there are also concerns about divider panels that provide privacy between the panels. You can connect multiple large panels to create more height and little to no under panel gap by using an H channel horizontally, as shown in this illustration. You can also add additional depth to a toilet compartment without sacrificing privacy by adding a panel to a stile with an H channel vertically, as shown in the illustration on the right. ADA accessibility standards specify 9 inches minimum toe clearance above the finished floor under the front partition and one side partition of wheelchair accessible toilet compartments. To provide toilet compartments with toe clearance below the 9-inch minimum, compartments must be designed to be 66 inches deep minimum and 66 inches wide minimum. All right, that ends learning objective 2. Any questions, Zach?
Yeah, one came in. I think it's more just a clarification because you did cover it, but let's say it this way. When is it required to have separate exhaust fans? Because you mentioned that with some of the full height cubicles, there may be a need for the separate exhaust. Do you know when that comes in?
I do not.
So
That
from
I know that there's an issue with the sprinklers, and you have to have a rule of 18 inches. I do not know what the requirements are for exhaust in every compartment versus an exhaust over a bank of say 3 or 4 compartments. That's
Yeah, so
something.
that is going to be dictated by your local building code, and
Yeah,
AHJ
the
always has
local
the
plumbing the
jurisdiction.
local plumbing codes would cover that exhaust.
Yeah. And it depends whether or not like if it is floor to ceiling, like a full independent cubicle,
If
then that would need to be vented individually. And it really comes down to, as some of the people are pointing, what the AHJ considers a room. So
right
generally it's
is
going to be floor to ceiling. Typically, from my experience over the last decade or so, um, this is going to align with the fire protection that you mentioned. 18
right.
inch is a pretty handy rule of thumb, but as always, consult your local building code, consult the local AHJ. They may have a unique interpretation. It wouldn't be the first time that an AHJ has a unique interpretation, but that would be our recommendation is 18 is a good guideline. I'm seeing 15%. That's a good guideline as well. Ultimately, if it's floor to ceiling and you have what appears to be like an individual room, then you'll want to run that by the AHJ and double check. So I think that covers it. And then we had another question come in on a different, same but different, talking about um, the longer stalls with no toe clearance, no toe kicks. The depth is 64 inches deep for a wall hung water closet. Is that correct? I don't know if you know that off the top.
Yeah, I think the simplest thing is if you want to make a ADA compliant compartment, 64 inches would be okay. But I think if you want to make an ADA, the safe harbor is 66 by 66.
And there's also a number of new clearance applications that come in. So consult the different diagrams that they have because they have all sorts of different clearance applications now. So worth double checking there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like 62 inches with a wall mounted toilet and 64-inch depth with a floor mounted toilet. I think those are the two depths. Um,
Perfect. Well, I'm going to highlight that we're about 15 minutes from the top of the hour. So as always, we're running a little bit long. I apologize if my intro went going long on us, but uh, we've got learning objective 3 coming up. Let's dive right in.
all right. We have about 10 slides, and I'll try to speed through them so that we are recognizing the time. All right, so here we're going to review the cost benefit analysis and construction implication of different privacy solutions. Impacting the selection of the best solution may be things like the budget, maybe how much space is allowed, what the cost is, and what the implications on construction trades are. There are a number of trades involved that will add to the cost. You'll have plumbing trades, you have framing and drywall, you have electrical, you have HVAC, and of course you have tile and painting. Let me just sort of sum up. In this chart shows the best choice for a gendered restroom, the best choice for an all gendered restroom. We're saying that for a gendered restroom, male, female, we're saying that the increased height toilet compartment is the most cost effective. We're saying that for all gendered, we want even a little bit more privacy, the extended height toilet compartment is the best choice. All right, now let me spend a little bit of time on this. This is a cost comparison of the different privacy solutions that take into account the size of the partition and the number of trades involved, and we'll go through these. First is the standard toilet compartment, 58-inch tall doors and panels, 85-inch tall stiles. They cost about $825 to $1,825 per compartment for a total of $4,125 to $9,125 for a 5-compartment layout. Then we go to, and there are really no infrastructure implications there. It's only plumbing, tiling services required. The next is the increased height toilet compartment. Now we have 71.75-inch doors and panels and 85-inch tall stiles. They cost about $1,550 to $2,875 per compartment for a total of $7,750 to $14,375 for the 5-compartment layout. There are no infrastructure costs. Number 3 is in the middle is the extended height toilet compartment. They feature door styles and panels to fit the room's height. They cost between $3,250 to $5,400 per compartment for a total cost of $16,250 to $27,000 for a 5-compartment layout, plus about $1,500 per compartment for separate HVAC, fire suppression system, alarm, lighting. You also have plumbing, tiling, electrical, mechanical services are required. Then moving one more column over to the right, the fully enclosed compartment with drywall to fit the room's height will cost about $4,000 to $7,500 per compartment, totaling $20,000 to $37,500 or more for a 5-compartment layout. The client will also pay about $1,500 per compartment for infrastructure costs. And finally, over on the far right, an individual toilet room with lavatory will include all necessary plumbing fixtures, self-contained. This will cost about $27,000 to $37,500 per room and will require 6 trades: plumbing, framing, drywall, paint, tile, electrical, mechanical. The client will also pay about $1,800 per separate lighting, HVAC, fire suppression system in each room. This will also take up more space because you got a combination of plumbing fixtures as well as floor clearance for ADA compliance. Okay, that is the end of learning objective number 3. Are there any questions in chat?
No questions coming up for this particular section, no.
Okay. Right, now move on to our final learning objective and review the ADA and accessibility, ADA and A117 accessibility compliance consideration associated with toilet partition privacy design. As discussed, different privacy solutions each have unique spatial requirements. So you have to, in choosing a privacy solution, it's critical to consider the space required to comply with the ADA and A117 standards. Some of the considerations include the width of entrances and exits, the passageway space, wheelchair turning space, and protrusion of accessories into accessible routes. Privacy solutions such as increased extended height compartments have an implication of toe clearance in the ADA and A117. The ADA's toe clearance is 9 inches minimum above the finished floor. For adults, 12 inches minimum. For children is required under the front and one side of the wheelchair accessible compartments. Toe clearance must extend 6 inches minimum beyond one compartment side, and the front face supporting styles are exempt from this requirement. In the ADA standards, if the compartment interiors are greater than 66 inches minimum width and 66 minimum depth, no toe clearance is required. Now we switch over to the ICC A117 standards. The toe clearance requirement is 12 inches high minimum for both adults and children, but now must extend 8 inches minimum beyond the compartment front and one side, exclusive of the styles. Toe clearance at the front and side is not required for the A117 if the interior dimensions are a minimum of 68 inches wide and 68 inches deep. And basically, I'm going to say the same thing here. Designers can achieve the maximum privacy in wheelchair accessible toilet compartments with panels and doors extending down to the floor by making the compartments a minimum of 68 inches in depth and 68 inches in width. And this 68 by 68 rule of thumb is a safe harbor, and it will take into account the accessibility standards, whether they be ADA, the A117 for existing buildings or new buildings. And finally, the accessible toilet compartment is used in addition to the wheelchair accessible toilet compartment, where there are 6 or more plumbing fixtures, including toilets and urinals, in one restroom. The ambulatory accessible compartment has a depth of 60 inches minimum. The width is in both the ADA and ICC. A117 is 35 to 37 inch maximum width. Doors have to be self-closing and swing out, not into the compartment. Door hardware must be installed on both sides near the latch. Grab bars are horizontal grab bar on both sides. To comply with the A117 standards, you also need an 18-inch long minimum vertical grab bar be installed above the horizontal grab bar on both sides of the toilet compartment. And with that, that brings us to the end of learning objective 4. Any added questions?
Yeah, just one clarification comes up here. For the self-closing door and hinges, does that affect the push-pull clearances per ANSI 117.1 or ADA 1010 or 2010?
Now, the self-closing, you're talking about the latch clearance, pull and pull? No, the self-closing door doesn't relate to the latch clearance. If you push a door, there's no clearance. If you pull a door, there's 18-inch clearance needed on the latch side.
Perfect. We
If
are
there are
good to
no,
go then.
if there are no other were there any other questions?
That was it.
All right,
You might, yeah,
I'm gonna
perfect. Thank you.
I'm gonna move into our slide where I say thank you for your interest and attention to this Design Solutions for Restroom Privacy course. If you have any questions about privacy needs or requirements in a restroom, contact members of the ATS team or a local Bobrick representative. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you. And just while we have everyone here, I'm going to take 5 minutes really quick at the end here to show how quick and easy it is to find the cubicles that we were talking about today, the partitions that we were talking about today. How quick and easy it is to utilize the ATSspec.com website here. You'll have a login tied to your account to your firm. So your firm can log in together, share projects and masters together, and you can work as a team within your account. It's all, free to access for each of you individually, but, heavily privatized to ensure that you have an accurate and private account. There's often a question about recording of these webinars. You can find them here. If you go to the Architects and Engineers tab, the Learning Hub, we have our webinar recordings, which is going to be how you can find the previously recorded sessions, as well as our ATS knowledge base is handy to know as well. This is where we have breakdowns on barrier-free guides or application-specific guides. We had a great presentation and a blog that showed where adult change tables are required for different applications. And the goal of this ATS spec tool, which you can see once you log in here, is how quick and easy it is to get CSI 3-part specs like this. This is our locker benches. I've pre-downloaded a couple here, or the lockers themselves, or any of the accessories and grab bars. And of course, we have our individual long spec formats as well. We have schedules in Excel, and I'll go through all of these in a little bit more detail shortly, or submittals. So these are all the different types of formats that are going to be customized to your job with the exact model name and number that you need. You can get the manufacturer spec sheets as well, and then even product brochure formats that show just the limited info based on your selections. So how quickly and easily we can prepare these is going to depend on whether or not your firm has already set up a master or if you're utilizing our ATS templates. So to get started with any selection, you can use use this quick action folder here to start a quick spec, a project, or a master. The quick spec is your individual selection. Let's say you just need a grab bar. That's a perfect quick spec. You want to use a project when you want to apply the local building code to your project. So once you hit project, you see we pop up location. We ask for the application because there's different flow rates that are required for different applications. There's different products that are recommended for healthcare versus a school, and a school is going to be different than a rec facility, which is going to be different than an office building. And then we have our templates, which are going to be broken down recommendations by those applications for you to easily and quickly choose from. I've already started a project here because I always assume that I'm going to be having lots of good questions and we're going to run long. So I've got my Bobrick ADA webinar here, and you can see the selections that I put together. And then I've got this blank project group here as well. So we're going to use our Masters and Templates button here. If you have populated your firm's go-to products for either different applications, we've got firms that have their drainage masters here. We've got firms that have, this is what we use for our condo or multifamily or apartment buildings. This is what we use for this particular school board. You can build those selections, include Bobrick as well as any of your approved alternates. And then just like our ATS templates, you have the same functionality to simply drag and drop from the approved selections into your individual project. So you just grab the dots, drag it over. You'll see I've got this button here that shows templates from the current project type. So this is built as a rec facility. So I can go to my rec facility master. This is our template from ATS. We can go to our architectural accessories. We can see that we've got different partition options here, the floor to ceiling that were discussed, the extended height, the concealed hinges. And if I want one, I can either grab the dots or check the boxes if I want all three. And I'll drag all three of those over and drop them into my project file. I can deselect them. I could select the entire product group, or I can go through one by one and say, okay, I want this. I need an adult change table and a baby change table. Maybe we have a locker area. We'll grab a couple grab bars, but we don't need the rest of it. So we're just going to grab these, drag and drop, and pop them in. And again, this is the same functionality that can use from your internal preferences set up as a master, or the ATS and our manufacturer's recommendations. And it's easy to change anything as well. We want to adjust this partition. We can hit the edit button. We could choose a different color. We can go with the khaki, or maybe a nice forest green. We'll select that. We can go to our options. Maybe we want to change our height to our max privacy height. And then that's going to update any of our other options along the way. And every single time we make a selection, we update our model name and number. So if we want to change to the gap list, it's going to update our model name and number again. And you can see as we change the gap list, it changes some of the other features that, gap list is not available with the kiddie stall height. So it grays out those options for the ceiling anchored or anything like that. So now we've made a revision, we can hit add product. If there's anything else in the fixture chain that's required, we can add that now. For example, the fixture chain is like when you have a toilet, you're going to need a wall hung toilet, our seat, flush valve, carrier, backrest if needed, grab bars if needed for a barrier-free toilet application. And we could drag that in as well. So we have 40, 50 different manufacturers that are on the spec tool. Really today we're just talking partitions. So if I want to only download the partitions, I can check the boxes again and just download those. The download button is always hidden by my stuff here, down at the bottom where I've got our download spec. And again, we can use Spec Assist to add alternates. We can copy these into different projects, and we can download them. The check of a box, we download all the documents that I just showed. And again, you get this nice little download folder where you've got your CSI, your long spec, your short spec. You've got Revit files for everything, schedules, the submittal documents, the manufacturer documents, and the product brochures, all the different formats available, how quick and easy it is to download those. So that's the really short intro to the ATS spec tool. It's a free product selection paid for by our lovely manufacturers like Bobrick, who also make sure that we are well educated on their product and understand what we're selecting, which I want to thank you for your time today, Alan, for providing that information for us. I know we'll have another one of these in the near future. I'm looking forward to it already. If there's any additional questions, we'll stick around for a couple minutes after I end the recording. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you for attending today. Hopefully you learned something. And when you need Bobrick on your next project, feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to get the spec package put together for you. Have a great rest of the day. Bye for now.